The crystalline towers of Station Kepler 442 hummed with the synchronized precision that defined Zetherian engineering. Every system, every circuit, every quantum processor operated within parameters so exact that deviation was considered a philosophical impossibility. The station's inhabitants, a collection of the galaxy's most advanced species, had gathered here to study the ancient Forerunner technology recently discovered in the Omega Drift. Alice. Chen stood before the obstinate machine, her oil-stained coveralls a stark contrast to the pristine environment surrounding her. The device before her was beautiful in its alienness, a sphere of interlocking panels that shifted in patterns no human eye could fully track, suspended in a field of soft blue light. "The diagnostic is conclusive," stated Vexlar, the Zetherian lead technician. His translucent form flickered with what Alice had learned to recognize as frustration. "The quantum resonance chamber has entered a catastrophic degenerative state. Maintenance is impossible. We must requisition a replacement from the Forerunner archive, a process that will take approximately 47 standard cycles." Carson Rodriguez, the only other human on the station, looked up from his datapad. 47 cycles? That's nearly 2 months. The dig team can't wait that long. This thing is the only device that can safely interface with the Forerunner network. "The mathematics are irrefutable," Vexlar insisted, his voice carrying the absolute certainty of a species that had eliminated uncertainty from their vocabulary millennia ago. "The tolerances required are measured in picometers. The materials exist in a state of quantum superposition. Human tools, human methods are categorically insufficient." Alice circled the device slowly, her trained eyes taking in details that the sophisticated sensors around her had already cataloged and dismissed. She'd been a maintenance engineer on deep space mining rigs before joining the Kepler expedition, places where equipment failed in creative and often deadly ways, where the nearest replacement part was months away at faster than light speeds. "Have you tried percussive maintenance?" Alice asked. The translation matrix struggled with the idiom. Several alien observers tilted their heads, or equivalent appendages, in confusion. "I do not understand the term," Vexlar admitted. "Hitting it," Carson translated, unable to suppress a grin. He knew that look on Alice's face. He'd seen it before back on the mining colonies, right before she'd done something that made the engineers weep and the equipment mysteriously start working again. A wave of what could only be described as horror rippled through the assembled alien scientists. A Queller delegate actually made a sound like shattering glass, their species' expression of profound shock. That is barbarism," Vexlar managed. "The device operates on principles that require, quantum precision, picometer tolerances. I heard you the first time." Alice rolled up her sleeves. "Carson, hand me that calibration wrench." "Which one?" "The heavy one." The aliens watched in stunned silence as Carson retrieved a tool that looked comically crude next to the sophisticated equipment surrounding them. It was solid, mechanical, and decidedly analog, a relic from humanity's industrial age that had somehow proven useful enough to survive into the starfaring era. "Dr. Chen," Vexlar said, using her title as if it might invoke some sense of propriety, "I must protest. If you damage the device further, we may lose our only link to the Forerunner network entirely. The scientific implications are exactly why we need this thing working now, not in 2 months," Alice interrupted. She approached the device, wrench in hand, and did something that no species in the galaxy had thought to do in the 3,000 years since the Zytherians had achieved spaceflight. She eyeballed it. Not with sensors, not with scanners, not with quantum analysis arrays. She just looked at it, the way a mechanic might look at a malfunctioning engine, the way humans had been looking at broken things since they'd first picked up rocks to use as tools. "There," she muttered, pointing to a section where 2 panels met. "That's not seated right. See how the harmonics are off?" Carson squinted. "I don't see. Wait, yeah. The light's flickering weird right there." "Flickering is not a technical term," Vexlar protested. "Our instruments show no anomaly in that sector." Alice ignored him. She positioned herself, raised the wrench, and struck the device precisely where she'd indicated. The sound rang through the chamber like a bell. Every alarm in the facility immediately began screaming. Aliens scattered. Vexlar's form blazed brilliant white with panic. Security protocols engaged, sealing the chamber. Then Alice hit it again. The alarms stopped. The device's panels suddenly aligned with a satisfying click that echoed through the now silent chamber. The blue suspension field brightened, stabilized, and began pulsing with a steady rhythm that the monitoring systems confirmed was optimal. The quantum resonance chamber, which moments before had been declared irreparably damaged, now showed full functionality across all parameters. The silence that followed was profound. "Status?" Carson asked the room's AI. "All systems nominal," the computer replied, sounding almost confused. "Quantum coherence at maximum. Resonance chamber operating at 103% of baseline efficiency. Maintenance complete." Vexillar approached the device slowly, as one might approach something that had violated the fundamental laws of physics, which, from his perspective, was exactly what had happened. "This is impossible, the mathematics." "We're probably right," Alice said, wiping her hands on her coveralls. "But math doesn't account for stuff just being stuck. Sometimes things don't fail because they're broken. They fail because they're jammed or misaligned or just need a good whack to settle back into place." "Percussive maintenance," Carson added helpfully. "It's a human thing." A Drellian observer, her fur standing on end, spoke in a whisper. "Your species simply hits things. And this is considered engineering?" "Not just hitting," Alice corrected. "There's an art to it. You have to know where to hit, how hard and at what angle. It takes years of experience. Centuries of my civilization's advancement," Vexlar said slowly, staring at the now functioning device. "And we never considered applying kinetic force as a solution." "That's because you guys always looked for the complicated answer," Carson observed. "Sometimes the simple solution is the right one. Humans spent thousands of years fixing things with our hands before we even got to space. We never forgot how." Alice was already packing up her tools. "The device said maintenance impossible. I maintained it. We good?" The alien scientists looked at each other, their various forms of communication creating a babble of confusion, wonder, and reluctant admiration. "We are good," Vexlar finally admitted, "though I believe I need to recalibrate my understanding of what constitutes proper engineering." As the humans left the chamber, Carson couldn't help but laugh. "You know they're going to spend the next decade trying to develop a mathematical framework for percussive maintenance, right?" "Let them," Alice replied, patting her trusty wrench. "Meanwhile, humans will keep fixing things the old-fashioned way." Behind them, the Forerunner device hummed contentedly, maintained by a method as old as humanity itself, hitting it until it worked.